I'll go to college football. I was going to talk about Josh Dobbs getting a win. That's a crazy story in and of itself. But I'll go this one. Because I also thought about going to James Madison going 10-0, but and the stupid NCAA rule keeping me out of bowl contention. But I'll go to this one, and I'm sure I kind of lied to EJ because I said I wasn't going to go this route. The University of Michigan basically showing Penn State their playbook for 2.5 quarters, and Penn State couldn't do a goddamn thing to stop them. They didn't record a pass. Yes, I know they threw one and there was a pass interference, but did not officially record a pass after like 7 minutes into the second quarter. And Penn State couldn't do a goddamn thing about it. The allegedly number one or something
allegedly
rushing defense in the country couldn't do a thing about it. Look, I'm gonna say it. The decision to literally just run and run and run and run and just keep running felt very intentional. When for like the last couple of weeks, the rhetoric is, well, when you know what a team's going to do, it's easier to stop them.
Allegedly.
Is it? Is it?
Allegedly.
Because, Michigan kind of said, no, it's not. But yeah, you know what? We can, if we want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of everything surrounding 24 hours in the Big Ten from Friday afternoon till Saturday, we can. I'll leave that kind of up to you guys. But for a team to board a plane in Ann Arbor, not really knowing what's going on, probably having some sort of an idea that there was a chance that Jim Harbaugh wasn't going to be on the sideline. But to get that decision via social media because Tony Petitti's a fucking coward. And then, you try and go through the appeal process. But again, because Tony Petitti and the Big Ten are fucking cowards to do it at 4 p.m. on a Friday federal holiday.
Oh, that's right.
To try to get the appeal process and it doesn't go through. And you basically, according to Joel Klatt and Jenny Taft and Brady Quinn, who have all said, like, even Saturday morning, big noon kickoff on Fox, nobody had any clue if or when Jim Harbaugh was just going to end up at the stadium and get that appeal to go through until literally about game time. So the fact that there was so much in the air and that Michigan team went into a hostile environment, I get it. Penn State, not a top 10 team, overrated as fuck, but for them to go into that environment, because that is a tough place to play. And for Sherrone Moore to not only have to operate as their offensive coordinator, but now their head coach, to say, F you, this is what we're going to do for 2.5 quarters. I bet you can't stop us. And Penn State couldn't. That's a fucking good.
And that was cool.
That is a good.
That was cool.
That's actually kind of hot there.
The only thing I will say about the whole thing, it was part of my bad actually, is that, don't stop playing victim though. Stop the fucking crying after the game.
No,
crying, the coach crying.
No. Hell
no.
Cut that shit.
No.
The crying, stop. The crying is because you have a guy who is passionate about the players that are on his team who have been put through the fucking ringer with this bullshit. Because the Big Ten is fucking coward. You want to suspend a guy? Suspend him midweek when they have a chance to prepare.
That I agree with. That I agree with you on.
That's why there's emotion, EJ. That's why he's going out and crying after a game. Because he has to see, those coaches are seeing what these players are being put through by this stuff. And yeah, you can blame Michigan. You can say that they're victims of their own cause. But the bottom line is, in the Big Ten statement, in the letter to the University of Michigan, they said there is nothing that proves and links anything to Jim Harbaugh. So why is he the one being suspended?
Yeah, that was a bad look. Especially
is it because they're vegetarians and he bought a player a hamburger?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's another.
That's
situation.
like can we also add to the fact that this is another instance of just complete bullshit being thrown Michigan's way, just so somebody else on the panel here can talk about this without getting hit with the Marge. Like this is a bad take by you, EJ. I'm sorry. Like
the crime was kind of like a little much, though. I mean, come on. I get it.
Mean?
That's getting caught up in the emotion, dude. I'm
I
sorry.
guess.
No, I'm
all the times you come out with some of these tool times. You want to talk about a little much, motherfucker? Okay, like what are we doing here?
Hey, listen. It is what it is on a 2-time. You just do
Bro, football is an emotional game, and when you have a guy that's invested, and when again we don't know, right? We don't know. Michigan hasn't been given their due process. They haven't been given their date in court yet. They haven't been given an opportunity to speak on the matter. Why? Because they're under an investigation.
So let me use this to build on this too. And by the way, I brought this up as a point talking with Mark Moses on 1560 AM, the Fan in Melbourne thing. Mm-hmm. Here's the part that's really stupid about all of it. Whatever happens here, EJ, I know, it's a bit much. I'm not even touching that right now. We could spend hours on that, okay? Here's where it's at. You know why this is actually a colossal mistake. Now, part of this, you'll be like, Kyle, you're just copying this from Joel Klatt. And rightly so. See what I did there? Hit the Klatt, Jim.
And rightly so.
That's so meta because I'm copying him as I'm copying him with a soundbite of him with a t-shirt inspired by him. Depth, motherfuckers. No, but here's what it is. Over and above the fact that this sets up the slippery slope of people just thinking something happens and now stuff's going to get levied is a whole other question. What about if they're found innocent? Y'all remember Obi-Wan Kenobi from the original Star Wars trilogy in episode 4?
Jim, are you a Star Wars guy?
Yes.
Okay.
I've already shouted, shut the fuck up at you.
Stop talking over people.
Hell, like, if I want to get talked over that much, I'd have the evil twin on the show. Shouts to Sean, who's a good guy. I like it. But back to it. So, in the event that Michigan gets found innocent of all charges through whatever an investigation that he can't find a link, you have created a monster that's far more dangerous than Ghost Obi-Wan Kenobi. Alec Guinness will be handsome compared to the fucking monster coming out of blue. And what are you going to do? What you gonna do, brother? Nice. When the blue monster is talking shit on Twitter all day on you.
And that's a great point, man, because so here's the deal. The reason that Tony Petitti and the Big Ten made the ruling they did on Friday is because a group of Big Ten schools formed a mob and forced his hand. And what happens?
Real quick, if you could put up Dylan's comment, because you're kind of answering his question.
Yeah, he says, Devin says, I have a question. Why hasn't Ohio State gotten punished yet? They were involved. I heard they started all this sign stealing. I'll disagree on, but yeah, there's the report that Michigan has proof that Ohio State and Rutgers were providing advanced scouting to Purdue for the Big Ten title game last year. But you don't see the University of Michigan kicking the door of Tony Petitti's office and asking for a suspension. Hell, I would just like to see the investigation open, but maybe that's just maybe the Big Ten can't walk and chew gum at the same time and do two investigations together.
Whoa,
but
hey.
I'm neither here nor there.
You still really mad about this?
But no, it is because it's frustrating because like there should be due process here. Like we are innocent until proven guilty, right? But and to the point that Kyle made about opening a dangerous door is what happens when it's Ohio State that is accused of something? What happens when it's Penn State? What happens when it's Minnesota? What happens when
hold on, haven't we seen Penn State? I mean, in a different context.
Well, that's true. Yeah, and to everybody who said this is the biggest scandal to hit the Big Ten ever, stop. Stop. But what happens if incoming USC becomes the target? Like,
Oh God.
Like we don't like the new guys. Let's all form a mob and get them in trouble. Like you're now setting a dangerous example here. Like, so a couple comments here from YouTube. It says Harbaugh was suspended because it was a later response than forcing the team to forfeit games. No, bullshit, because if you have heard the reports, the Big Ten has said they will still hand down punishments if Michigan is found guilty of anything. So they'll be double punished. So cool. That's apparently a thing in the Big Ten as well.
Hold on. Here's the thing. How can they can't, like, here's another way they screwed up, Jim, by not waiting till the end of at least after the end of the year to do this crap. They've now concluded, allegedly, or have been forced to conclude, or found some way to balance out. Thank you, sir. Some way to balance out the alleged sign stealing that everybody's allegedly doing, by the way. Please don't hit all the allegedlys. I'm using that a lot. But hasn't that been neutralized now? To your point, they didn't have to steal signs from the playbook. Penn State was handed the goddamn thing and still spanked like a redheaded stepchild. All right? You've taken Harbaugh off the sideline. He won't be there for Michigan and Ohio State. And oh, by the way, any team worth their salt is now changing their signs if they believe this is as true as their letters allege.
Right. Okay? I did see that it was an easy win because Michigan knew what they were doing. I'm like, okay, if James Franklin didn't change signs knowing this was happening, he's a worse coach than I already thought he was.
Well, and maybe this is why they fired the offensive coordinator. I don't know. But go
ahead.
Here's the conclusion of it, though, Jim. At this point, Ohio State will have a shot to beat them knowing all of this. Mm-hmm. And if they still get beat, what leg do you possibly have to stand on at this point?
Then what? Another comment here from YouTube. The report handed the Big Ten already included a list of infractions the NCAA could prove. But again, there's that word, could prove. Until proven, they are not guilty.
Yeah.
Like, what do we not understand here?
If those exist, and no disrespect to
the club don't fit, you gotta quit.
Right? Like, and listen, no disrespect to the commenter, but if those exist, why aren't they released yet?
Right.
What are we doing?
Right. Oh, maybe because it's an ongoing investigation and it should be concluded.
Or maybe possibly too, it's just not bleeping there.
Right. Right. Maybe there's not the smoking gun people think there is. But anyway, now let's hop off of the Michigan horse